we live in a patriarchal economy. It's not a society. So usually people, when talk about patriarchy, they're talking about rules of kinship and how women are treated in society. But the same society has an economy. In the economy, the rules of patriarchy, the hierarchies that patriarchy creates, are also applied on who has access to means of production, who can own or control wealth, who can assign tasks like assign labor to the members of society, who is defining the value of that labor, and who is defining what we're going to do with the surplus that we produce as society. So if a society is creating wealth that covers the needs of the society, and then we have more wealth and we have to decide what to do about it, the rules of the economy and the rules of patriarchy define who will control that excess, how we are going to use it, and who will be praised for that use. So in an economy that's patriarchal, unfortunately, women are treated not only as, let's say, second-rate members of society, but in many cases, unfortunately, as means of production. So there is also an issue of subjectivity in the economy, who decides about what. And then women are assigned tasks that are valued with zero, unpaid work. It's not only the monetary value that is that women are deprived of, but also this labor is not even labeled as labor, as work, as offer. It's labeled as a natural urge of women to help others, to do care work, and this is how it disappears from our counting of the economy. So it doesn't appear in the GDP, for example, because it's very convenient. It's convenient for the corporations, it's convenient for the state, and it's convenient for, let's say, a society that sees hierarchy as normal. So if half of the population is doing work that's unpaid and invisible, that's very convenient for the other half, and for those who accumulate wealth according to the rules of that society. So feminist economics is investigating how this economic system works, and we also try to show how much value women, children, and all genders that are excluded or marginalized in society are contributing, and they still get erased or they still get robbed of their work and their fair share in the economy. One rule. Okay, so as a feminist and as an economist, I would say that I would start with private ownership. So we have to, even if we, let's say, as society, even if we want to keep private ownership as a rule and as an institution, we have to see where to use it, under which conditions, and where it should not be used. For example, we know very well that for public goods, private ownership, like if we have private education, for example, it works very badly for the education as a sector, as a service, for the students, for the education providers, the workers of education, and we end up with a society where most of its members cannot access education, or they access education that's very low quality, or they end up educated but in debt. So we have to reflect again about private ownership and see whether in some sectors that it doesn't work, and we know that it doesn't work, whether we should just stop using this institution in those sectors at least. Okay, it shouldn't be capitalist. No way. I mean, it doesn't work at all. I mean, we shouldn't just consider this system as an option anymore, especially because we are already in climate crisis. We cannot afford continuing with this economic system. So if we're going to talk about alternatives, we have to find economic systems, first, that they don't impose the hierarchies into the economic process. So talked in the previous question about patriarchal economies. So we should also make sure that patriarchal economic processes are not accepted in the economy. The other thing that we should do is to see how our economy can work with nature together, because nature works for us. Also, the work that nature does for us is valued with zero. The economic system that we have now sees it as a free resource. It's not free. And it is not, if we abuse this resource, if we destroy this resource, we can't recreate nature. We have to let nature do its job, which means that we have to learn to work with nature together. So these are the two, let's say, two main principles of any economic system we would like to have that would be better, like sustainable in a way that respects nature, as a system, as a community that creates wealth, whether we humans exist or not. Although, I mean, this debate about whether wealth, the concept of wealth is only human, I'm not going to enter this discussion now. And the second is we have to reflect on how patriarchy is depriving most parts of the population of their living, decent living conditions, and their share in the wealth that the community creates. Okay, first I feel I have to apologize to the youth because we previous generations, we have not fought enough for them. And I can know that. What I can say that there is the instability is structural. It's not going to end soon. There is this perception that, and I see this as a teacher in universities and schools, the perception that we don't need education anymore, that because the salaries will be low or most people will be unemployed or precariously employed, that there is no need to learn anything now, because in capitalism we had linked education with money. And what I would say to the youth right now, we don't know what the future will bring to anyone. We don't know how the situation with the climate, with the economy, with political conditions will bring to everyone. Educate yourselves in any way possible, as much as possible. Because now education is not about having a good income and, let's say, rise socially because you have a better income than your parents, which is, you know, in the society that we live, it's a legitimate objective, aim for a young person to live well and better as time goes by. But now education is a matter of survival. So what I would tell my students, and I tell them in the classroom, is learn as much as you can, learn it very well, understand it as deeply as you can, because you don't know whether you will wake up tomorrow, and you will need this knowledge not for a salary at the end of the month, but for helping your community survive a crisis, whether it is a climate crisis, a political crisis, or an economic crisis. So you need to know as much as possible, as well as possible.